All right, so Moistcritikal, aka Charlie, aka Penguins Zero, has apparently made a hit piece video on my queen, Mew Kitty. I think this is well, actually, I guess I don't know. I assume in it because it's about hypocrisy, and there was a recent thing about it. And he recently debated XQC. I didn't watch that conversation, but either way, Mew Kitty, she's like a really small creator that made a video about Twitch streamers and honestly wasn't wrong about what she said. Basically, called them out on some hypocrisies, inconsistencies at best. So let's see what Charlie has to say for himself.
Yeah, I've set the t-shirt to dark mode, which means it's time to go full throttle into the danger zone. No more granny shifting. We're gonna talk about a controversial topic: Fansly advertisements on Twitch. This is actually a war that I've been drafted into and tossed into the front lines, so I've been catching fire and getting called out, labeled a hypocrite, and morally flexible when it comes to things my friends do that I call others out for.
It kind of seems that way.
So I kind of want to talk about this entire subject here because I feel that it's just a load of dirty...
Is he gonna be a coward? Is he not gonna call Mew Kitty by name?
barnacles to call me hypocritical when it comes to Fansly advertisements. So allow me to show you to your table and deliver your entree of drama that you've ordered. So, the situation in a nutshell. A couple weeks ago, there was the Streamer Awards that happened on Twitch. I was unable to attend them in person, so I received permission from QT Cinderella to watch party them. This was a massive event that QT Cinderella put together.
Oh, interesting. Sounds like
and one of the advertisers for it, one of the
sounds like
sponsors,
special
was Fansly.
treatment given by a friend. Interesting.
So
Curious.
during the stream, a Fansly advertisement popped up, and this was my reaction to it.
A free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators.
Wait, what did he say there? Hold on, let me be good faith.
See which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content.
What?
On Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content.
I don't understand what he's saying.
Your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content. And
I have no idea, I'm sorry.
the Fansly For You feature. Swipe and discover today.
Wait, it's not saying it in the subtitles actually. Hold on.
Content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated. Streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators.
I have no idea.
Fansly For You
Something
feature.
rage.
Swipe and discover today.
A very tame giggle as if someone came up and playfully tickled me for a moment. And people were upset because I didn't start spitting and shitting, taking up arms about how disgusting it was that Fansly was being advertised.
No, okay, well, maybe I missed it. Maybe somebody other than Mew Kitty brought this up, but it's not so much that you didn't take a hard stance. It's that basically what the argument that Mew Kitty made is that when Aiden Ross showed porn to his viewers on stream when he was streaming on Kick, apparently Charlie, I didn't watch Charlie's video, but apparently Charlie made this huge video like morally condemning Aiden Ross for doing that. But when QT Cinderella advertises, well, and actually, so I should clarify again. Charlie's argument is that Aiden Ross's audience is primarily children, which is probably true. And it's just interesting that he went so hard on Aiden Ross, but when QT Cinderella advertises porn during the Streamer Awards, he just utters a little giggle and doesn't say anything. It's just curious, you know, Pepe emoji, put the Pepe emoji. It's curious that when her friend advertises porn, or when his friend advertises porn, he's got nothing to say. But when Aiden Ross shows porn, which admittedly these are, oh yeah, I should also clarify, these are two different things, I will admit. Like, it is different to show porn versus advertise porn. Showing porn is understandably worse, but advertising porn, going so far as to say, hey, you don't even need to make your own account. You can just click sign in with your Twitch account. To children, it's not that much better. It's really not. And in fact, I would argue that they're close enough that to go so hard on Aiden Ross, but to not say anything about Cutie and the entire event is a little sussy. It's a little sussy-wussy. That's all I gotta say.
Advertised on this broadcast here. Reason being is because prior I had made a video talking about a couple of things. One of them was Aiden Ross when he showed porn to his audience. My statement was that Aiden Ross went on Pornhub in front of his audience, which a lot of them are kids on the younger side of things.
Yeah, fair enough.
I said that was weird.
Bringing this up as well.
That was a weird thing to do. So when I giggled during the Fansly segment, it was used as a smoking gun to call out and attack me for being a hypocrite, because it's the same principle. Fansly was just shown on stream to an audience that undoubtedly had kids watching. How is that any different than Aiden Ross going on Pornhub? Charlie is a...
No. It's not how is that any different. Everybody understands that it's not exactly the same thing. It's that your response was not proportional to how you would think it would be.
Hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross, but doesn't...
It's gonna bother me if his entire argument is just the showing porn is actually different from advertising it.
Do it when it's his friend QT Cinderella. When I first heard this argument, I thought it was just a bunch of fish paste. I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people were trying to compare these two things.
Oh,
going
he's
on
doing
an
it.
actual legitimate Pornhub out of nowhere in front of your audience, and just having porn, real porn being played, versus an advertisement, which does lead to porn, but the advertisement itself has more clothes on than a lot of things that are already freely broadcast on Twitch that
Wow, he's actually doing it. Okay, well, let's see.
are easily accessible. I didn't think these two things deserved to be on the same playing field, but that's where I was wrong. I clearly failed the CAPTCHA here and was labeled a bot, because a lot of people do view these in the same category, in the same wheelhouse. A YouTuber named MewKitty made a whole video...
Yes, my queen!
on it talking about Twitch streamers and their hypocrisy. A video that I make an appearance in towards the end, and it's exactly what I just talked about, where I said it was weird.
But the thing is, as well, is that when you look at... Okay, like, here's the thing. When you look at MewKitty's video, it's not like a... It's not even like that, like, all that serious of a thing, you know? It's... I mean, when you look... Like, it's clearly mostly made for, like, humor. I mean, she's totally based and right about, like, everything that's in the video, if we're being real. She's not wrong, but it's not like she's trying to, like, cancel anybody, you know? It's not like she's just pointing out some inconsistencies. At least I think. I don't think she made the video with the intention of, like, canceling people or whatever.
Ross pulled up Pornhub, but I laughed when Fansly was a sponsor of the Streamer Awards. And not long after her video, Scott Schaefer made content covering the same topic where...
Okay, sure. I guess there are other people talking about it.
Once again, the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 superstar Charles White comes into the frame once again with another banger cameo. And the argument is the same. Charlie called it out when Aiden Ross pulled up real porn, but didn't call it out when QT Cinderella advertised porn. And he did it because she's his friend, thus he is a hypocrite. And on stream, I talked about this last night, and I'll go ahead and get this out of the way right away. During that stream, and in the exact same video MewKitty has posted on one of her channels, I outright say both are bad. It's pretty clear from reading her comments, not like her personal comments, but like the audience comments, that the majority of the people didn't even watch the full statement. Which isn't her fault, and I even don't blame the audience, because right now, the human race is being plagued by brain rot, parasites...
You know what? That's fair. Because here's the thing I will say as well. I don't necessarily... Like, I'm not, like... I'm not gonna, like, go down somebody's throat if, in the moment, somebody isn't just like 100% consistent with everything that they've ever said. Because it's like, I think it's understandable to watch, like, see Aiden Ross, like, straight up just showing porn and be like, wow, that's really bad. I gotta call this out. And then to see, like, Cutie Cinderella show a Fansly ad that isn't, like, actually showing you porn. Like, I can understand, like, in the moment, that not really registering in your brain as something that you should call out. Like, as long as Charlie has, like, clearly as he's done, like, actually, like, thought it through and, like, realized, oh yeah, both of them are bad. I mean, then fine. Like, I'm not again, like, me, and I don't think Mew Kitty, my queen, either is trying to, like, cancel anybody.
Form content which has ruined the attention span of people. So I don't necessarily find it shocking that they didn't watch all 10 minutes of what I was saying.
Also, by the way, he might be calling, it might seem like he's calling me out. I didn't watch that video, but that he's talking about where he already talked about it. I haven't watched any of his videos talking about it. I decided to watch his final video for the first time to hear his side of the story.
But in that clip, I outright say both can be bad, but they are not the same to me. Thus, I disagree that it's hypocritical that I made statements about Aiden Ross and the porn thing being...
I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I don't really know the difference. You know what? Fine. We'll Google this. Let me see. Hold on. Hypocritical versus inconsistent. I don't actually know the difference between the two. Hypocrisy strongly implies a moral/ethical failure. It is used in situations where somebody is misleading, like they say one thing and do another, and that makes them a bad person. Inconsistency is pretty close to value neutral. It just means that something is not the same from moment to moment. Okay, I would go so far. Okay, using this definition here that I got from Quora, so I think Quora is where, like, random people can just say it's not even like a that great of a source from what I understand, but whatever. If we're going by that definition, I don't think that Charlie is a hypocrite. I just think that in that moment he was a little inconsistent. But sure, the fact that he's able to say that both of them are bad. Then yeah, like, I'm not gonna go down his throat for it.
really weird, and I didn't make the exact same statements for Cutie Cinderella's Fansly sponsor. I'll go ahead and prove that it's there right now, real quick, before getting into why I think they're so different, but ultimately both are not a great thing to be advertising to an audience that is undoubtedly going to have children watching.
There you go.
Of course, advertising Fansly, OnlyFans, or anything in front of an audience that has younger children on it, it's always going to be not a great decision. It's one of those things, yeah. Now let's make like an egg and...
I guess, and again, I didn't see his Aiden Ross video, but I actually, now that I think about it a bit more, I think also the main difference is that when when Aiden Ross did his thing, he was like, again, this is from what I understand. I haven't actually seen the video, but if it's the case that in his Aiden Ross video, he was like, Aiden Ross, how could you show porn to children? You are an actual monster pedophile, blah, 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 blah. But then now he's just saying, like, yeah, you know, Cutie, she did a bad thing. They're both bad, but, you know, they're both bad. And I think it's fair to say that they're both bad. Like, if he was, like, way more aggressive towards Aiden Ross, then I could see some room for criticism there.
Hard boil this subject real quick. So, the difference between Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub and Cutie Cinderella bringing up a Fansly sponsor is very clear right off rip. If all of you in the classroom right now...
I would say it's so clear that it's not even really necessary for him to go that deep into it, but okay.
Have your thinking caps on, you'll notice a huge difference.
But it's fair. People on the internet are stupid. Admittedly. I am one of them.
I was able to play the entire Fansly ad as it aired because they are all clothed. You are not getting immediate nudity or pornographic content. It is an advertisement for pornographic content going to the website, yes, But unlike Aiden Ross's moment with real Pornhub just being there, actual fucking full-blown porn, you got pussy, tits, everything all right there immediately, that is not what you got with the QT Cinderella Fansly sponsorship. Thus, immediately, those two are already different. Showing the porn to an unsuspecting audience out of fucking nowhere is a lot worse than advertising a service that has porn on it. And that's something Scott Schaefer does touch on in his video. His is more of a...
Okay, I will say, at the end of the day, both of them are so egregious that I don't know that I would say that what Aiden Ross did was, like, much worse, because not only did Cutie advertise it, she advertised that, oh, you can kids, you can easily sign up with your Twitch account. You know, if your parents already made you a Twitch account, like, you don't need to make your own account. Like, you can just do it, children. So it's like, honestly, I don't know that I would say that Aiden Ross is much worse because of how easy Cutie made it for children to use. But anyways,
deeper look at the subject, and MewKitties is more memeing with it. I always thought her content was supposed to be silly and over-the-top trolling, but she does seem genuinely upset at me, and I imagine it's because of my statements, and I also did say I'm not the biggest fan of the way she edits her content. I called it...
Okay, see, this is... I don't even... Okay, memeing... Me calling Mew Kitty my queen, those memes aside, I don't even think that she's that upset over it. She's just, like, pointing out some inconsistencies and some hypocrisies. I don't know if she's... I can't remember if she actually said hypocritical. Used that dirty word that Charlie is so averse to us using. But, like, I don't think she's that upset over it. Like, I think still for the most part she's memeing, but she's just kind of taking the piss out of Twitch streamers, you know?
Zoomer editing, which sounds mean-spirited when I really didn't mean it to be. She edits her videos, like, very chaotic on purpose, where it's a lot of sound effects, you know, like a fucking gong being hit pretty often, or like really loud blasting music pretty often, and that's just never been my cup of tea. But I never...
Here's the thing, Charlie. You just don't understand. MewKitty's content is like on in a third dimension of irony, okay? Because Zoomer editing is cringe. But MewKitty knows that it's cringe. So when she does it ironically, it becomes funny again. You don't... Charlie just isn't on our level of intellectualism, so it's okay. He just doesn't understand.
Never meant it as an insult on her honor. It's just not something that I'm personally a huge fan of. The same way that...
But again, like, he doesn't have any... See, now he's trying to, like, paint... Now, okay, this is, again, I'm no longer memeing. I'm actually being, like, serious. This is pretty scummy to be, like... To try to, like, paint MewKitty as like a butthurt fan that's, like, upset because you said you don't love her content, when nothing that, at least that I've seen, nothing that she's done really indicates that. Like, you could even tell when she's doing her whole bit about when she did her whole thing with XQC, where, you know, XQC was saying that she thought that that XQC said that he thought that she was going too far with the cutie video. It was obvious that she wasn't actually butthurt over it. Like, it was all, like, it was still like her trying to be funny about it. So I don't know. This is pretty scummy what Charlie's doing right here.
She doesn't like my content. I didn't mean it to be mean, and I apologize that it may have come across that way. I certainly didn't mean it to. But the whole point of me mentioning this right now is I do want to say that Scott Schaefer did also talk about the difference between playing porn versus advertising the Fansly. He did touch on that. Last night I made the comparison that the Fansly ad actually had more clothing on the people in it than what you would already find on Twitch right now in the hot tubs category, where it is bikinis and very, very revealing clothing. And that is a category that Twitch itself advertises. If you go to Twitch when you're not logged in, a lot of the recommended channels are hot tub streams, so Twitch itself does peddle content that is clear.
Yeah, again, this isn't really relevant to the whole point, because at the end of the day, both what Cutie did and what Aiden did are leading children to be able to easily access porn, which is bad.
Clearly sexually charged. My point with this statement was to draw the immediate comparison that this Fansly advertisement wasn't immediately exposing young viewers to sexually explicit material, and it's even more easily accessible for them on Twitch already by just going to the category right next to the fucking Just Chatting one. That was the whole point of that. That's something XQC didn't quite understand, calling me wrong, saying that there's not a bleached butthole right away or something on hot tubs category, thus checkmate. Hits me with the scholar's mate. That wasn't my point. My point was the ad itself didn't contain any explicit imagery or anything highly sexual, at least nothing that was worse than what is already currently being advertised on Twitch in that category. And when you go to Fansly, there is still not immediately ass and titties in your face right away. Thus, I didn't think by scanning the QR code, people would immediately just be fucking blasted with porn all over the place.
Charlie, it's not... It's making it easily accessible. It's not like that. The criticism isn't like nobody's making the argument that it is the case that Cutie like blasted children in the face with. I'm not even going to finish that sentence because that's no. It is just the fact that both of these are like relatively bad. Like they're in the same stratosphere of badness. And it's just the inconsistency of you went super hard on Aiden, but you don't go too hard on Cutie. And even in this video, you're not really going all that hard on Cutie.
It's like Charles Xavier jacking into Cerebro. So I viewed the advertisement very differently than a lot of people, because even when you scan the QR code, you still don't immediately get porn. There's already a lot of degrees of separation and a lot of obstacles to go through, as opposed to Aiden Ross, which just pulled up porn as a jump scare during fucking stream, right? It to me, still is very different. I also was under the assumption that Fansly was only accessible to 18 plus after you verified your age. I don't use the platform. I thought you had to verify you were 18 plus in order to even get to the pornographic content. Thus, I thought it was even harder for children to have got porn out of that advertisement if they weren't of age. Not only would they have had to leave the platform to get it, they would then have to verify their age and make an account for it. I thought there was a lot of steps to it, making it very difficult for them. But according to some research now, it actually seems like Fansly is extremely easily accessible for anyone of any age. There's not a whole lot of security to it based on the things I've read, which is knowledge I didn't have last night. So,
yeah, which is fair. Again,
I made the comparison that the Fansly advertisement reminded me of all of the strip club billboards that are spaced around all of the major interstates. Anytime I go up north to Pennsylvania, there is hundreds of strip clubs being advertised, and on those advertisements, there are women in bikinis and very, very revealing lingerie.
Yeah, this is just whataboutism, you know. I mean, I think it's probably fair to criticize billboards as well, but there's a difference because like a child would have to for a child to see a billboard to go to the strip club, they would have to like open the door and jump out of the car and then run to the strip club, or like sneak out of their house to go to the strip club. What Cutie did was, Cutie was basically like, she was like hiding behind a corner and she saw a child and she was like, hey kid, you want to see booba? You want booba? Come on kid. And then she like very clearly like pointed the child into the direction of the strip club and like gave him the secret passcode to be able to get into the strip club. Like, what Cutie did was not a billboard. Cutie was like funneling children into the strip club.
And they tell you exactly where to go for the strip club. Well, when you're driving through, there's a good chance a lot of those cars are going to have kids in it and see those advertisements. So I compared Fansly to a strip club billboard because, in principle, if Fansly worked the way I thought it did, where you had to be 18 years or older to enter, it's kind of like a strip club advertisement because a kid could see that but still couldn't access the content because the strip club would obviously turn them away. Ideally, assuming you're not going to some kind of fucking shady, corrupt strip club. And I thought Fansly was the same way. But apparently that's not the case, so that comparison doesn't work anymore. And I recognize that now. And I also made the comparison to the old GoDaddy commercials, which were highly sexualized content that was broadcast during like Super Bowl, during sporting events, where it was things like a girl with huge honk.
Yeah, but and again, just to clarify, most of this is kind of irrelevant because at the end of the day, it's the end result is bad, which is that children are watching porn, children are accessing porn, children are being made aware of porn, children are being like more children are watching porn now, and both Cutie and both Aiden Ross, like both of them led more children to watching porn. Both of them did a bad thing. You can sure, yeah, Aiden Ross did a bad thing in doing that, like an incredibly bad thing. I'm not gonna be Charlie. I'm not gonna temper my words. Aiden Ross did a really scummy thing, but Cutie also did a really scummy thing, and it's again, it's just a little inconsistent of Charlie to be like, what Aiden did was so much worse. Yeah, but Cutie, she did a mistake. She did a boo boo. She did a little oopsie whoopsie poopsie, like that. That's the inconsistency.
Her straps like breaking off, and like she's in a courtroom, and like judge is going hubba hubba hubba, and then like she's trying to say something, and the other strap's like wiggling, and then it's like right when it breaks off and about to reveal the giant milkers, it says go to GoDaddy.com to finish it. And I wasn't really making a big point out of that. I just wanted to point out that, man, it really does feel like the early 2000s again with a lot of the internet arguments we get into these days. It's shit we've had for years. History really does kind of repeat itself. Because I do still think that's a pretty fair comparison.
Oh, also, again, to be clear, I have not watched his Aiden Ross video. So maybe he didn't go super hard on Aiden Ross. I'll just be clear on that. It's possible, but I am pretty sure he did, because I think I've seen like clips of it, but again, I could be wrong about that.
Fundamentally like the same thing. The argument back then was, think of the children. They were watching this sport, and then all of a sudden, sexual content advertisement. So that's all I was really saying with that one. But yeah, in closing, I feel like there is no real good faith argument to be made that I'm hypocritical because I called Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub weird, and didn't immediately start calling out how weird it was for Fansly to be a sponsor of the Streamer Awards. I feel like the two aren't really
Not hypocritical. Inconsistent.
comparable. Blasting porn, real porn, immediately to your audience, out of nowhere, no warning, and right in their face, just on stream.
Yeah, like this is basically it. Aiden Ross, he might be Jeffrey Epstein. But Cutie Cinderella, some Ghislaine Maxwell stuff right there. I think that's a good analogy.
Stream is completely different than an advertisement to a platform which does have porn, but a lot of things that they'd have to do in order to access it. Granted, I've now learned that it's easier than I thought it was. I still think the two are drastically different.
They're not drastically different.
So I still just don't think it's hypocritical. As I've said, neither one of them is great.
Oh yeah, and by the way, he also did really good thing, right? Hey fans, hey my audience. Anybody that disagrees with me after watching this video, they're bad faith. They can't possibly be arguing in good faith. They're bad faith. So don't listen to anybody else, any differing viewpoints that may still deem what I did a bit hypocritical. They're bad faith. Remember, audience. So, okay, it's a little slimy there, Charlie, but okay.
I don't think either one of them is an amazing thing to do, but they are just not the same, and it's really fucking silly to pretend that they are. They are very different.
You know what? Let me actually...
And, yeah.
Let me watch some of his Aiden video. I think that actually is probably going to be pretty important. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I can't find the video where he talks about Aiden Ross showing the hub on stream. So tell me in the comments if Moistcritikal like went super hard on Aiden Ross in that video, and if he went less hard on Cutie. You can let me know. But either way, Moist, Charlie, Mr. Penguin Zero, you missed. Okay, you don't when you come at the queen, you better hit, but you didn't. You missed. Very unfortunate. You're not going to be ready once Mew Kitty makes her response. Okay, you're not going to be ready for it, Charlie. So get ready to be destroyed in the battlefield of ideas. But either way, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, whatever. I don't do these kinds of videos, but I'm bored. So there is that. Bye.